I've been recording myself going through annual reports of companies in order to put out there what it's like for a professional value investor to research in real time. Of course, these days, I don't execute a single trade without checking what the Sage Seeds artificial intelligence has to say. So that's why near the end of the video, we will partner up with the Sage Seeds AI to see what it thinks. Let's now dive into the latest annual report of eGAIN Corporation. A fancy logo and slogan, easy with eGAIN. Skipping the letters, but I couldn't skip seeing ChatGPT. Let's try to ignore while we fight our way towards the numbers. Just makes life easier. The consolidated balance sheets. The ratio of total assets over total liabilities. Is it around 1.5 to 1.8-ish? That's putting this company in standard, not too crazy growth mode. In the latest year, assets has grown faster than liabilities. On the liabilities side, the biggest changes in numbers, while deferred revenue has gone up, meaning they're doing a worse job charging money to their customers. On the asset side, some increase in cash and mostly an increase in accounts receivable. So going from not having charged customers to receiving IOUs from customers. Slow and steady. Income statement. This company tries to charge subscription services and fees. They call them professional services in this business, but that's just fees. Copying Apple's decision to break up revenue like this years ago. Total revenue increasing, gross profit increasing. This was enough to get the company from a net loss to a net profit in just the latest year. Statement of cash flows. During the year of swinging into profit, the company maintained very reasonable growth in everything that matters. Here we can see another take on the accounts receivable. Even though accounts receivable went up in the balance sheet, it's actually due to legitimate growth. Accounts receivable as a proportion is actually going down, but they were just making so much more revenue last year that the overall figure looked larger. So actually, a very good situation on the working capital side. In conclusion of the opening move, what we seem to have here is a legitimate small company getting into the fun part of opening a business, which is finally making money. So we're going to follow up on that. What does management say? How do they define revenue? Well, we might have a very wholesome story here that we're looking at together today. eGAIN Corporation automates customer engagement by selling mostly to large enterprises and lots of big bureaucratic industries I'm seeing. Overall, they claim that if customers use their software, have reduced service cost and boosted sales. Not the most specific business description, but not necessarily vague enough to take off any points. Just pretty bland growth story. Now, the chief financial office of this business has given us some notes on revenue recognition. This is the same as what we saw in the income statement. It's subscription and professional services. Their subscription revenue is recognized monthly. Pretty straightforward stuff, really. A little thing different than kind of the subscriptions that most of us are probably used to. Some of their products, they charge a one-time license fee at the beginning. So that's kind of like having a extra expensive first month when you first sign up for the subscription. But then just regular, just monthly subscription fees. What gets a little more interesting is their professional services, their fees that they charge. All of their fees are coming to what they themselves called consulting services. Here they're basically describing that they balance between charging a fixed fee for the same work in different companies and trying to get away with charging a time and material based fee, which is going to fluctuate based on whatever the company feels they had to spend doing for that specific customer. And so for some businesses, they try to charge more money, but does gives us more insight into what this software is and who its customers that it's targeting are. It's definitely complicated enough that they can't promise to just set it up for you the way kind of like an Apple store would all promise that there's always a Genius bar open. And they don't really know how to predict what it's going to take on their part until they're in the trenches, so to speak. CFO's office will have to keep an eye on how this goes, because if it's not specific yet, it's probably not because of lack of desire on the CFO's office. Their menu looks confusing right now. Hopefully the business wants to unconfuse it for their customers as quickly as possible. There's nothing too crazy going on the revenue recognition front. This really is a software company with some good clients. They're purchasing complicated software, but also demanding that eGAIN do a whole bunch in order to set it up for them. It all sounds good, and so we've moved over to the item 7 to see what the CEO's office thinks. Second paragraph in the whole thing, CEO telling us that they have transitioned from a hybrid model to a pure play SaaS company is what a lot of investors look for these days. The only way to get access to their software is officially to pay a monthly subscription every single month. Very non-controversial, saying that the reason for doing this is to introduce more predictability into their operations. It looks like they're really embedded in the bureaucracy of big businesses, meaning that they got away with charging monthly subscription fees because these smaller monthly subscription fees allow managers in big businesses to get the interns to make all sorts of presentations about how eGAIN investment has raised blah, 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 blah. It's easier for these middle managers to purchase a monthly subscription that they can turn on and off, or at least they think they can turn on and off easily, versus buying a big expensive perpetual license like they would have had to do a couple of years ago. Look at this almost 3 million decrease in legacy revenue. This is the one-time fee things. They basically eliminated that from their business. Good for them. Caught up eventually. Subscriptions aren't actually seen as that common anywhere else in the world. Maybe in Europe, but not really. They successfully switched to subscription-only business model, and it has negatively impacted their revenue levels outside of North America. That is decreased on a percent basis by as much as the North American sales increased. Hey, if you're getting more comfortable uncovering the stories behind the numbers, please like and subscribe. Honestly, the rest of this item 7 is very, very boring. I was kind of hoping the management would talk about what it is that their software does, but not really. So we have additionally gone to the item 1, modern knowledge management. And now it's knowledge management, not customer relationship management. It's energized by big data and cloud computing, obligatory SaaS Gen AI, and probably more importantly, if I'm being honest, they offer no risk trials to middle managers in very bureaucratic industries. We have better things to do with our time than try to get them to explain what their own product does. But I think there's finally 2 words that reveal everything we need to know. Contact centers. eGAIN wants your phone call to be running through their software. Literally the engagement between people calling on the phone and the people within the company answering the phones. This is what got all these middle managers so excited, getting this company up to almost 100 million recurring revenue annually. Statistics galore, PowerPoints galore. If you've ever worked in a big company, I feel you know what I'm talking about. And I get it. Why talk to the employees managing the phones? As a manager, all I have to do is auto-compile the report and have that extra hour to watch TV. It's looking pretty like clear skies for eGAIN. I can imagine lots of businesses will continue to pay monthly subscription fees rather than figure out all this stuff that they need to track on their own. Remarkably boring, in my opinion. But so many great investments are exactly that. So boring that not everyone would have made it to the end of this video. My mind feels no stimulus. I think that's the best way to describe my current state. This is going to rank high or low in the 2023 season. This ranking will be a valuation ranking. Please like and subscribe. eGAIN Corporation is ranked 2 out of 72 in value for the 2023 season, placing it very high up in the rankings in the 2nd percentile. That is a great ranking. SageSeeds AI claiming that there is clearly value here. So why is SageSeeds so sure? I've been trained to be very wary of, but in a situation that I was not noticing at all, stock-based compensation's actually been a very big plus for this company. Knocked this company into being cash flow positive years ago. Many years before it was quote-unquote profitable on the income statement. They're just in that sweet spot where they're actually getting a windfall from it. Sometimes it's the quiet ones. Let me know what you liked or didn't like about the video or this company. In the comments below, share your wisdom. Then afterwards, don't forget to share this video.